Hi everyone, Tintin57 here with another Train Sim World 2 video, and today let's take a first look at the G6 Shunter for Rhein-Ruhr Osten. So this one's been out a couple of months, but it's the first time I've taken a look at it, so thanks to the team at DTG for letting me have access. I've heard and seen so much great feedback about this one, so let's jump in and take a look at the introduction, and I'll do my best not to interrupt our German narrator as we go.
This is the G6 diesel locomotive in the grey-green factory livery. The light shunting and mainline locomotive is operated as Class 650 at Deutsche Bahn. In this introduction, you will learn how to get the G6 ready to drive and master the most important operating steps of the drive and brake controls. Climb on board.
Okay, before we do that, let's have a good look round. Certainly looks a beast. Love the colours. This livery's great. The amount of detail on the side. I imagine this one has taken a very long time in development. Can't wait to drive this one. It's a very powerful machine. So let's start the introduction.
First of all, we need to make sure that the main air pipe supply is on. Open the doors to the air system compartment and close the cut-off valve.
Love these little details, being able to open and close these cabinets. So let's get those doors closed. Again, look at the level of detail here on this door with the layout and everything marked, the key for everything there at the bottom for everything that's marked. Close the door. Very clean inside. Nice control desk. So we need to put in the battery key, so we need to use the views as it's suggesting a hold R3 left D-pad for PlayStation, which gives us our internal view of this desk, which is much easier than keep jumping in and out of the seat. Battery power to on. Headlight switch to shunting. It's there somewhere, there it is. Engine switch to start.
This locomotive has two driver desks. Only one desk is active at any time. Actuate the desk to be used with one of the direction selection buttons. Note that the active desk and the currently selected direction of travel can only be changed when the locomotive is at a halt and all 6 operating levers are in the middle position.
Set the reverser forwards.
You can deactivate the desk by pressing the active direction selection button again. This is required if you want to shut down the locomotive. This is not necessary if you want to change the desk. This locomotive has 4 different braking systems: the train brake, the direct brake, a spring-loaded brake and a hydrodynamic brake. All brake levers, as well as the power and brake handle, use a time control. The longer you remain in a position, the more the value changes until the maximum or minimum has been reached.
Okay, let's start to release the brakes then. First the train brake, then the loco brake, and then we've got a parking brake back on the panel at the rear.
In order to apply power and start driving, you have to move the power and brake handle to the foremost position and hold it there until the desired amount is reached. Then let go to hold the power at that level.
So we need to accelerate up and then let go of the throttle and it will keep it there constant. That's a loud horn, but all these sounds are taken from the real locomotive. The team had access to the locomotive, which is really nice, so you know that this is all authentic.
The hydrodynamic brake is operated with the power and brake handle. It allows the fine control of brake amount and operates almost wear-free. Now brake with the hydrodynamic brake. Pull the power and brake handle all the way back and hold it there until about 50% braking force is reached. Then let go.
So we use the combined handle for this one. So this is a dynamic brake, and as it mentioned, we've got loco brake and train brake. So we can top up with the train brake if we need that.
A peculiarity of the dynamic brake of the G6 is that it increases in braking force as speed decreases. Always keep this in mind during your run. Very good. Now drive to the specified location and use the dynamic brake again to stop the locomotive.
Okay, so braking is going to be one of the challenges in this shunter, knowing which brake to use, but as it was suggesting there, always try to use the dynamic brake first to just reduce the wear and tear on the loco. But under a heavy load, you may also need to top it up with the train brake, as I mentioned. Going light engine like this, the dynamic brake should be enough. Feels powerful to drive, if that makes sense. It feels like it's got a lot of oomph. I know this is only a simulator, but it has that solidness about it. So I'll see if I can hit this mark. Here's a test of the braking. So I'm applying the dynamic brake. Probably need a little bit more than that. Probably gonna miss the mark this time. Yeah, I missed it by a few meters. Now here's a test. Putting it in reverse. So decrease the brakes. So we've got to have all the handles in the middle, as it mentioned at the beginning, and that'll let us put it in reversed, which it's now done. So just put some power in, just roll back onto this objective, or it won't let us go any further.
Now let's change the gas to drive in the other direction. Apply the direct brake and move all levers to the center position.
So all the levers being in the central position, that's going to be key. So if you're driving this and you find you can't move, if you're switching desks, just check the 3 levers on each side, that they're all in the center. That's going to catch me out a few times. Okay, so we're good to move to the next seat. So we need to put it in forwards first. Release the train brake. And I'm doing a combination of using the actual train controls and the ones on the controller.
Now couple to the wagons on siding 406. First contact the dispatcher and ask for clearance to enter.
So we can use this telephone now to contact the signaller, but we can also on PlayStation hold the 0 button, which will do the same thing. I don't know for the process of the tutorial whether it absolutely has to be the telephone in the driver's cab, but you can experiment with that. I'm really impressed with the detail, down to the oil, even on the buffers of the loco. And this, of course, isn't a DTG DLC. This was developed by TSG, who are TrainSim-Germany. And as I said, they've spent a long time on this. And so far it's really, really good. I'm looking forward to jumping into the scenarios. There are 5 scenarios with this. And a number of services. So remember, you will need Rhein-Ruhr Osten. This loco is linked to Rhein-Ruhr Osten, so make sure you've got that route first. If you buy the loco without that, it won't appear in your DLC list, so just be aware of that. And this one has been in the sale recently, so if you missed that, take another look for your particular platform. It looks like an excellent one to drive. May just need to release some of the brakes just to pop back a little to get room to couple this up. Just release that. There we go.
Now switch back to the first desk and drive to the specified location.
Okay, so for the purpose of the tutorial, it is telling us what to do as we switch desks. But it won't do that, of course, in service mode. So we can leave it in forwards as long as all the handles are in the middle positions, and then we just switch it on this desk. Release the train brake, loco brake, and apply some power. So we've got a bit more weight behind us this time. It sounds really powerful as well, that's the other thing. I love the detail of the weeds in the tracks as well. It's excellent.
The train brake is used when moving more heavy trains. However, you can use also the dynamic brake until just right before the stop. Always pay attention to the train ride. The heavier the train, the less effective the dynamic brake is in the upper speed range.
So similar.
With the train brake, move the brake lever back one step. The main air pipe will now be emptied over time. Then move the lever back to the holding position to maintain the applied braking force.
Yeah, so I nearly interrupted him then. But similar
Move
to
the brake lever to brake and leave it there until the main air pipe pressure reaches about 4 bar. Then move it back to stop and wait until the train comes to a halt.
Okay, I think it's safe to talk now. With a dynamic brake, we've seen it similar, haven't we, on Sandpatch? And the heavy freight routes, the American routes, with the dynamic brake, especially coming down the hill. We need to use a combination of brakes when we've got a heavy load behind us.
Very good. Now release the brakes again by moving the brake lever to release and leave it there. Then drive to the specified location. Wait a moment until the brakes are completely released.
So I'm just keeping an eye on the brake dials now, making sure the brakes come off. Just stepping up the power just until I feel it bite. And there we go. So we've got a couple of shunters now for the German routes. We've got the 204, which was a rivet DLC. We've also got the 363, which was a DTG DLC. I've enjoyed both of those shunters, to be honest. This one looks to complement those two. If you're a fan of shunting or switching, then these DLCs are definitely for you. All three of those have got the dual desk system as well. I'm assuming that is the same for all German shunters. Little bit different to the ones I'm used to in the UK, the Class 08, the Class 09. That was a better stop. So now we're going to reverse back into the sidings. So we need to put the reverser in backwards. So from what I see so far, I would say the TSG development team should be quite proud of this one. I can't wait to get it on a longer run and work my way through the scenarios. So some of those scenarios and timetable services I'll do on a future live stream, I think. Get a longer look at it then. But also these local DLCs also breathe new life into routes that we've had for quite a while. We've had Rhein-Ruhr Osten now for well over a year, I would say. And since I've been on the PS5 version, I haven't actually dipped into Rhein-Ruhr Osten very much. But I think with this one as well, we get access to different areas of the route that were previously locked, which is also really nice. So far, I like what I'm seeing. I could definitely recommend this one. Again, depends on what you like to do in Train Sim World 2. If you're a fan of shunting, then definitely. So coming in at 19 kilometers per hour. But there's a bit of distance between the stop marker and the red, so I'm not too concerned. Just let it freewheel now. Put a little bit of brake in just to be sure. Just using the dynamic brake at the moment. Put some train brake in as per the tutorial.
Before we uncouple the wagons, a word about safety. Always put on your hard hat when you work outside the driver's cabin. Now take it off briefly and put it back on. Think of this as an exercise.
Okay, so this is something new. A nice little touch.
Well done. Safety at work is important. Therefore, never forget to use the hard hat. Now, uncouple the wagons, please.
And safety, of course, is very, very important, especially on the railways. You might not always see it in my videos. I do take risks, but of course, in a real life situation, don't follow my example. So that's that uncoupled. So just jump down from this step. And we need to draw the loco forward to the next objective marker. Should really put the hard hat back, actually. Back into forwards, release all the brakes. So it's quite complicated to begin with, actually, but even now, coming towards the end of this tutorial, after a number of repetitions, it does become more ingrained in your brain as to what you need to do to get it moving. So the red's not far away. Plenty of dynamic brake. And I think that could be it.
Excellent. You have successfully completed this introduction. You have mastered the basics of operating this G6 locomotive.
So that's the introduction for the G6 Shunter. Remember, if you do pick this up, you'll need to own the Rhein-Ruhr Osten route to be able to run this and see it in your DLCs. Hope you enjoyed it. It's certainly a lot of fun to drive, as you can see, and I'll be back with more with the G6 quite soon. Until then, take care. See you on the next one.